78A. I must say, I'm curious if any of you managed to do the word jumble for the title of chapter 22. It, in fact, was called Triumphant. It's a pretty long chapter, too. Okay, so 23 letters are S, W, E, D, C, R, E. This was the best day of my life, I blubbered as Amanda, Cosmo, and I left the community center just after 6. Well, you sure have a funny way of showing it, Cosmo laughed. But he put his arm around me and patted my shoulder. We arrived at Cosmo's car. Can I offer you a lift? He asked Amanda. Actually, some of us are going to Milestones, she said. I could tell Cosmo was trying not to look disappointed. Oh. Okay. But we could all go, she continued. Cosmo's frown turned upside down. I'd like that, he replied. I glanced at my watch. Mom's cooking course ended at 6, and it was already 5 minutes to. I think I'll take a pass, I said. I'm pretty tired. They drove me home. Want us to come in? Asked Amanda. I'd like to meet your mom. It's a shame she couldn't make the tournament today. You can't meet her, I said. She isn't home yet. Which wasn't a lie. Cosmo let me out of the back seat. You did amazing today, buddy. You should be very proud. You're going to wind up with a rating of close to 400, Amanda said. And it may not sound like much compared to the experts, but for your first one-day tournament, it's pretty darn good. I hopped out of the car, clutching my trophy, and waved as they drove away, feeling a twinge of sadness that I couldn't join them to celebrate. And that's when another miracle happened. The second one in less than 2 weeks. My cell phone rang. Hello? Ambrose? It was my mom. I tried the house, but you weren't there. No, I'm just out front. I went for a little walk. You didn't talk to strangers, I hope. No, Mom. Listen, we finished the cooking course, but Bob was wondering if I'd like to go out for a quick bite to eat. Italian, of course, ha. But I said I'd have to check with you first. If you'd rather I didn't, go. Of course you should go, I said, and I really meant it. For her, not just for me. When will you be home? By 10 at the latest, I promised. Okay, I said, and I was already running down the street. You're sure you're fine with this? Positive. Why do you sound out of breath all of a sudden? I'm doing jumping jacks, I said, because it was the first thing that came to my mind. I heard her laugh on the other end of the line. Okay, sweetheart. Love you. Love you too. I hung up and ran like the wind in my Ikes all the way down to Milestones at Bayswater and 4th Avenue, thinking that this was the second time in 2 weeks that a higher power had been watching over me. I ran so fast that Cosmo and Amanda were just walking through the front door when I arrived. The best day of my life turned into the best night of my life. There were about 12 of us in all. Mohammed and Joan and Larry were there from our club. Freddie Wong, the champion, showed up. A bunch of the other out-of-towners came too. We got the waiters to put a bunch of tables together, and I sat between Cosmo and Mohammed, and right across from Freddie, which was a real honor. Freddie told us all a bunch of stories about being at the World Scrabble Championships 2 years earlier, where he'd placed 15th out of 100 top players. He also gave me tips on word study techniques, which I thought was pretty cool of him. He seemed like a great down-to-earth guy, and he'd even signed my napkin when I asked. When our waitress approached, I couldn't help but notice Amanda. For the young gentleman, she said, when it was my turn to order. I'll just have water, I replied. Cosmo turned to me. Aren't you hungry? I don't have any money, I whispered to him. No worries. Buy whatever you want. It's on me. But you can't afford... I forgot to tell you. I got called into the foreman's office yesterday. Starting Monday, I have full-time work. That's awesome, I said. Then I grabbed a menu and gave it a quick scan. After I gave our waitress the lowdown about my peanut allergy, I ordered a huge plate of fettuccine alfredo and a Roy Rogers. Some kind of fancy cocktail, minus the booze. Around me, everyone was laughing and talking and analyzing the plays they made that day. and not just with each other, but with me too. It was the strangest, yet best feeling in the world to realize that I was a part of this. And as I sat there sipping my second Roy Rogers, it dawned on me that this is what it was like to have friends. People who like you for you. People you didn't have to try to impress. And even though they were all older than me, and some of them much older than me, it didn't matter. Suddenly I felt kind of emotional again. I guess Cosmo noticed because he leaned in and asked if I was okay, and I told him with total honesty, I'm fantastic. Then I went to the bathroom because I really needed to pee after my second Roy Rogers. When I returned, one of the out-of-town players was sitting in my seat, so I sat in hers, which put me beside Larry Schell. I had never sat close to Larry before since he was in the expert division, so it was the first time I noticed that he smelled like a mix of old socks and rancid butter. I guess he was really enjoying his food because he made a sound while he chewed. I decided I should try to make small talk, so I said, "When did you start playing Scrabble, Larry?" I played with my mother growing up. It was hard to hear Larry because he kind of mumbled, but fortunately, my hearing was 20/20. Hey, me too. I mean, I'm still growing up, but I play with my mom. He nodded. My sister would go to the parties, and I'd stay home with mother and play. I wasn't invited to the parties, but that was okay. I suddenly had a very clear picture of Larry as a kid. I could see him being picked on and being called names like Larry Smells. "And who do you play with now?" I asked politely. "Mother, and the West Side Scrabble Club once a week. But mother mostly. I can't work because I have a lot of, health issues, so I still live at home." "Oh," I said. Larry must have been at least 40. "Scrabble's my life. I play Scrabble, and when I'm not playing, I study words or watch TV. I love TV, especially CSI." Maybe it was mean, but suddenly I didn't want to talk to Larry anymore. I thought about what Cosmo had told me, about the paths we choose in life, and how it's easy to make a wrong turn. When I looked at Larry, I got this uneasy feeling that if I made a wrong turn, I could wind up just like him. These were pretty deep thoughts, and I wasn't in a deep mood, so when the out-of-town lady got up to use the bathroom, I excused myself and slipped back in beside Cosmo. Amanda sat to his left, and when I bent down to pick up my napkin, I saw that they were holding hands under the table. For dessert, I had a big piece of apple pie a la mode, which was brought to me by our waitress, who assured me that it had been made in a peanut-free bakery. "Most promising newcomer, huh?" she said when she saw my trophy. "I bet a lot of girls at your school say that about you too," and she gave me a dazzling smile. "That they do, but I tell them I only have eyes for you, Sandy," I replied. After she'd walked away, Cosmo and Mohammed burst out laughing. "Ambrose, you are going to be a lady killer," Cosmo said. Mohammed added, "If I had daughters, I'd lock them up." When we left, Sandy gave me a big hug, and there was a big smile all over my face. It felt like the perfect ending to a perfect day, even if she only laughed when I asked her for her phone number. Cosmo was in a great mood too because Amanda had accepted this offer of a lift home. I got in the back of Cosmo's car feeling like $1,000,000. I had no idea that just 5 minutes later, everything would come crashing down around me. And that this time the higher power was helping someone else, or he'd gone to bed early. Because this time, there would be no miracle. This time, I was screwed.